So this video today is definitely more of a personal share. As a coach and a leader, I'm always guiding people, and I never want to tell people what to do that I'm not implementing, practicing in my life always. And so this is going to be a little bit of a vulnerable share. I share about healing that I'm doing in my own life. And I want you to see and get the experience of how I am reprogramming some past wounds, which is exactly what my Be It method is about, is to really be present enough and heal what was to create the life that you desire, that you dream of, the life, the relationships, the business. That's really what I do with people. It's what I've been doing for 20 plus years now as a certified trained life coach. And one of the things that I wanted to say really is that yes, there's levels, but we're all on our own journey. And we are humans, and humans are messy. And there's always going to be stuff that we need to, that will challenge us to get to our next level. And I have been, an old wound has been triggered that I've been managing and looking at and sitting with and healing, really. And I think I just wanted to share that. So here we go. I want to give some context really quick about, I have two older sisters than me. I have a younger brother and a younger sister. There's 5 of us. I'm right in the middle, but 2 older sisters. One's 4.5 years older than me, and the other one is 14 months older than me. And when my sister, that's 14 months older than me, was born, my mother actually died. It's a true story. They had a priest, she flatlined, they had a priest come and say prayers. They pronounced her dead. She was dead for, I think it was like 8 minutes or so. She saw a light. She's got a whole beautiful story about that process for her, but she had died. They all thought she died. She came back. So she got pregnant 3 months later with me. And as you can imagine, there was a lot of fear that I was sort of marinating in during her pregnancy because of her previous experience. And so there was, I have always felt, when I was a kid specifically, and then as a teenager, a good amount of anxiety and fear. And I think a lot of that was not really mine. I've always been a very sensitive and intuitive and empathetic being, feeling everything around me. And a lot of that was a gift, but some of that also was me trying to manage and figure out how to survive in the environment I was born in, which there was a lot of chaos and fear and disconnect. And one of the things that my mother still laughs about to this day, which is a little sad, but whatever, is that I was very loud child. I cried a lot, especially the first year of my life. And in order for my sisters and my mom and my dad to get sleep, they put me, we had a large house at the time, and there was the basement, and then the first floor, and the second floor was where all the bedrooms were, and then the attic. And my parents, in order to get sleep, put my crib in the basement for the first year or so. It's how they were able to survive, is what they say. And my mom tells this story still to this day about how she would come down many times, and my hands would be clinging to the side of the crib, and I would be sleeping like this, as if I screamed myself to sleep, and I was waiting for someone to come and get me and hear me and see me and comfort me and take care of me. And I have to say that I still feel that to this day. I still feel that urge when I'm triggered. I feel that urge, that anxiousness. And this is the wound that I have been managing my whole life. It's what now I know I have been healing from and dealing with and running from my whole life, is that feeling. I then grew up really as a kid, as a teenager, and really in some ways in my whole life up until now, people pleasing and trying to be liked and say the right things and not having an opinion. That's the thing I did, especially in the young part of my life. It was what everyone else wanted. Jen did not have an opinion. I liked what everyone else liked. I didn't care what movies we watched. I didn't care what music we listened to. I didn't care, just as long as everyone around me was happy. That was my identity. I took that into my marriage and into all the relationships that I have been in. Up until I started my healing journey, which, as I was healing it, which I teach people, it's often messy at first. And I didn't know who I was for a very long time. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is because I was in a relationship the last couple of years with somebody who I genuinely thought that I would spend the rest of my life with. We had a beautiful connection and spent about 2.5 years together until some things happened in life and he sort of needed some space. We were not connecting like we were previously. And that was really, really challenging for me. And I'm not going to tell his story, only going to stick with mine because that's what I know. And we really disconnected. I needed, and because of that, we went no contact for a while, which is what I needed to do to heal. Now, it was an extremely painful time for a long time after that, because again, I thought this was my person. And when he stepped back, every single thing, every trigger, every hurt, every wound was triggered, was up in my face again. And this is what I teach these days, is this is what happens when life presents us with challenges, as I call them, opportunities, right? What we want to do is we want to go right back to where we were, to the comfortable chaos, or the familiar is a better word, chaos, because it might not feel good to be where we were in survival mode, but it feels familiar. And that's what our brain and our body and our nervous system wants to do. It goes right back to survival. We want to survive, we want to get through. So when this man stepped out of my life, I was left with all these feelings of, oh my gosh, I am alone. I'm not important. Nobody wants to hear me, see me, really feel me, be with me in the depths of my pain and frustration and anger and sadness, that I'm left alone again in a basement to figure this out on my own. That is what I felt like. Now, I'm a 49-year-old woman with a lot of tools and a lot of years of knowing that that's not who I am, but man, that came right up and stayed with me for a really long time after this relationship had ended, and still visits. Now, again, this man and I went no contact for quite a while, and we recently had some chats about a few things, and all of a sudden it was, as I was starting to feel more regulated and more myself again, that kicked up right back again. Is all those feelings of I'm alone, he doesn't see me, nobody will ever see me, I have to do this on my own. All those things that little Jen, the baby girl, felt in the crib. We're gonna have to do a part 2.